What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Tim back with another video, and in today's video I wanted to talk about child-free living. Now, those of you who don't know, my name is Tim. Hello. I'm currently 42, never been married, no kids. And I don't have the desire to ever have kids. And I've been very vocal about this in real life and all over the internet. And whenever I tell people this, a lot of people, a good portion of the people, have a problem with it, okay? And one of the biggest issues people have with me being child-free and wanting to stay that way is that they say it's very selfish. And they have like a whole laundry list of reasons why it's selfish not to have kids. A lot of them say, like, if we all didn't have kids, then like humanity would die out. So in order to be like a decent human being, you have to have kids to keep this thing we call humanity going. Okay, that's one. A lot of people say that, you're going to let your family name die out. I'm the only son that my parents had, so they're right in that regard. My family name will die out when I die, if I don't have kids. A lot of people say that's selfish. A lot of people are like, well, what if your parents had decided not to have you? Then you wouldn't be here. So if you don't have kids, you're depriving, another being from being born. Selfish of you. I just want to say, while I respect everyone's opinions about kids, I'm one of the people that whatever you say about having children, I'm like, more power to you. I really don't care. So while I respect everybody's opinions about having kids, I gotta say, I think this whole selfish argument is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I think it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, all those arguments we just put up, all of them mean absolutely nothing to me. They just don't make any sense to me. I'm like, what world do people live in where like any of that matters? Okay, like let's take the first one. If we all stopped having kids, humanity would die out. Who cares? You ever thought about the fact that if all humans left this planet and died out tomorrow, every other organism on this planet would rejoice? We're the only organism on this planet that does like nothing but destruction. So let's not just sit here and act like humanity has to survive, like it's some greater calling that humanity has to be here. No, all we're doing is destroying this planet. So stop with that one. Not to mention, just because I decide not to have kids doesn't mean like everybody else is. It is not a logical argument to ever say, if everybody stopped doing this, stop. I love chicken wings. You're going to be like, Tim, you can't eat chicken wings because if everybody ate chicken wings, all the beef farmers would go out of business. No, it's a stupid argument. It's a dumb argument. You got to do better than that, folks. So that was just crazy. A, I don't care if humanity died, so that's not touching me. And B, you know how many people have kids like by accident? How often that happens? You're never going to get to a place where everybody stops having kids because people like having sex too much. And inflation's here. Condoms are expensive. You're going to have more. They cheaper than kids, but it don't seem that way at 2:30 in the morning when you're trying to get it in. Moving on. Second one. What was the second one? Oh, like my family line dying out. Legacy means nothing to me. Family line means nothing to me. You know what I mean? I love my parents. I love my mom. I love my dad. I'm proud to have my last name and be, their son. But it means absolutely nothing to me to like continue that line. I guess that's just one of those things. If it means something to you, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. To me, it doesn't. There's 8 billion people on this planet. It'll be okay if I don't birth someone and give him the name, him or her, the name Ward. It will be okay. I got sisters. They got kids. The bloodline will still be here. It will be okay. The world will be an okay place. If I don't birth a kid or, impregnate a woman who births a kid and give that kid's name Ward. Not to mention, what if I had all girls? The name would die out anyway. So that doesn't make sense to me either. And finally, this is people love this one. People love this one. The one about what if your parents hadn't had you? Well, then I wouldn't be here. And we wouldn't be having this conversation. And I definitely wouldn't have had any kids because I wouldn't be here. That thought doesn't bother me. I'm like, oh, I'm not sitting around. Oh, thank you, mom and dad, for having me. If they hadn't had me, the energy that is me, the energy that makes up my consciousness, would have went somewhere else. I would have been a tree. I would have been a drop of rain. I would have been a moonbeam. I would have been a platypus. I don't know. I would have been something. I'm not one of these people who's all hung up on human life and being here. No. The energy that makes up my consciousness has always been here. It will always be here. Whether there's humans around or not, whether I was born as Timothy Ward or not. I'm not so wrapped up in this life. A lot of y'all are just too wrapped up in this life, in my opinion. No judgment, do what you do, live how you live. There's no rules. Believe what you want. I'm just not wrapped up in this life. And I think that's why I don't feel this need to bring another life onto the planet. The energy that would be my child is just going to go somewhere else. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. It does not, to me, it is not selfish to say, I want to live my life without having to take care of another human, little baby human. I work hard for my money. I want to keep all of it. I work hard to have the free time I have. I want to use it the way I want to use it. I don't really want to have my life linked to a child as well as another human being my whole life. Whole rest of my life. Not only is there a kid, then you got your baby mama. I live a pretty carefree, kind of introverted life. I'm not ready for that type of link. And I don't think it's selfish. Actually, let me take that back. Let me rephrase that. I'll say, I think it's selfish in that I'm looking out for myself first, but I don't think that's a problem. We do a lot of things in life that are selfish. Selfish is not always a bad thing. Overly selfish, okay. But me making decisions about my life is supposed to be selfish, right? It's supposed to be selfish. It's me making decisions about me. And it's a decision that's not harming anyone else. When you make decisions about your life that harm or hurt other people, well, yeah, those are overly selfish. That's the bad type of selfish. I'm making a decision about my life that does not harm anyone else. No one is getting hurt when I say I don't want to have kids. Actually, there'd probably be a lot more pain, suffering, and heartache if I decided to have kids. I don't know why people out here acting like everyone who has kids, it just turns into this magical experience. When yet and still, there's kids with parents out here who horrible things happen. There's kids with one parent. Horrible things happen. They always have that void for the one parent. There's kids out here with no parents. There's all this bad stuff that's happening to young people, to kids, to children. But yet and still, we still out here just recycling these beliefs that who even knows where they came from. That says you have to get married, you have to have kids, all this stuff. When someone stands up and says, you know what, I don't think I want to do that. People are so programmed, people are so brainwashed, they can't accept that. A lot of times I think it's, people who have kids and they have to struggle every day with them kids. They don't want to see you out here, someone like me, just living my best life without having to worry about kids. So they fabricate these, it's selfish, it's wrong. God says you have to have kids. That's another one. They love that one. God said you have to multiply and fill the earth. I feel like he was speaking to humanity. And humanity's doing that. There's 8 billion people. There wasn't near that many when that scripture was written. So we're doing a good job on that. I don't have to be part of that. I don't have to be part of that, in my opinion. But I think a lot of times, people, they make decisions, and in order to justify their decisions, and in order to have you live in the same, sometimes miserable life they're living, they say you're being selfish. They say you're disobeying God by not having kids. Now, there's another group of people who will say, hey, Tim, I have my kids. I love my kids. They're the best thing ever happened to me. I just kind of wish you could experience that type of love. I respect those people and those comments all day long. I'll typically respond to those people and say thank you, because that's them coming from a place of love. That's them coming from a place of like, hey, I just want you to experience this. It's kind of like if I eat a food and I love it. I'm like, bro, and I tell my friend, bro, you got to eat these chicken wings, this new batter, this new dip, whatever, this new sauce. And she's like, nah, I don't want to eat them. I'm like, I'm telling you, these are the bomb. Like, I'm not pressuring him or her to eat the chicken wings for any reason other than I think they're good. Now, if I was to come up to me like, man, you don't never do anything I ask you to do. I ask you one little simple thing. You can't just eat these wings. You don't really love me. See, that's coming from a different place. But if I'm just like, hey, these are good, I'm telling you, try them. Respect. And when people do that with kids, when they're just like, hey, Tim, you know, I love my kids. They're the best thing ever happened to me. I would like for you to experience that. Respect. But it's the people who are like, you're selfish, you're that. No respect. No judgment. Because they just live in the life the way they see fit to live it. But not a lot of respect. Let me do me. And if I am being overly selfish, I'm sure I'll pay the price for it. Sure, I'll pay the price for it. For me, I think I'm doing humanity a service by not having kids. I know how I was as a kid. I know how I am as an adult. You don't want to see adult Tim dealing with young Tim. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this issue. Please feel free to disagree. Feel free to come at me. I know some of y'all will. This will trigger some of you. But also, I'd love to hear from the people who are child-free as well, why you made that decision, whether you think it's selfish, whether you agree, disagree. Let's talk about it. Talk to y'all later.